Friday edition, Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Grubel offices. One call, that's all studio at the Avenue, downtown Milwaukee. Joshie DiMaggio is here. Will Sommers is here. Tiny Hands Hunter Vaughn is here at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. We're going to have a party on Friday. I got Friday energy today, boys. I ain't going to lie to you. Been a little loosey-goosey. Been a little bit all over the place today. Joshie, any... are you surprised by that admission?
You have this energy every day. It's no different than the other. It's just the degree to which you're going to annoy the rest of us.
Did you hear that laugh from Madison Hayes, who runs our social media in the background?
Hunter, that was for you. Question.
Yeah, I did. Okay. How was I supposed to know that was a question for me?
Well, because he's in the room with her, and I probably a poor setup I made.
Yeah, no, it's your fault.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were literally talking to Josh, and then just go, did you hear that?
You typically would say, Did you hear that, Hunter?
All right, sorry. I'm trying to get my dramatic reading that I'm going to do here in a minute ready. Will Sommers is here. Will, what's going on, man? How you doing? I learned something really interesting about you before the show.
What'd you learn? I
learned that you actively play street ball with 15-year-olds up the street from your apartment.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I just kind of dominate them every day on the court. My stat line's usually something like 13, 7, and 2. Maybe underestimating my rebounds because, frankly, I'm just more athletic than them. But, yeah, I've been dominating. It's been a good part of my day the past couple weeks.
I noticed only 2 assists. Sound like a ball hog.
I would more say it's my teammates' inability to shoot.
Oh, okay. Taking shots at high school freshmen.
Yeah. I give them the chance, though. It's just more takeover mode. I have to.
The other thing I learned is that they don't know how old you are.
No.
Now, you do view young, like younger than you are. You could pass for a high schooler.
Is that a short joke?
No.
No, but if you were to take it that way, I wouldn't be offended if you did.
Why would you be offended anyway?
It was just making a joke.
Okay. Well,
it's a way to call him short.
Yeah, he is short.
He walked in the other day, and I said, oof. You been shrinking, brother?
He told us before the show he thinks he's on a growth spurt.
He says a lot of things.
My joints are in pain. I think I'm growing.
Is he more like me than you?
In ways, he is the all-time overestimate his abilities guy.
Just like I am.
Yes. You guys share that in common. He's not as annoying as you.
Okay.
He keeps to himself better.
I don't.
No,
I love it.
You've never kept to yourself.
But I'm a collaborator, Joshie. That's like why I'm in this business. I love collaborating.
That's a fancy
and
word to say I pester everyone around me all the time.
That's not true. We collaborate.
But when you asked in the office the other week, this was a moment that's going to last with me. You said, "Isn't Josh just so annoying?" And everyone's response was, "No." And then you walked away, and everyone goes, "You're the annoying one." And I think you think I'm collaborating. I'm being fun. And it's like, relax, dude. Take a chill pill. We're at work.
Strouf, we really got to work on your self-awareness, pal. Like, if you ran that one past me, I would have told you, don't ask that question. You're not going to enjoy the answer.
It was just kind of like I was just kind of poking the bear moment. Because Joshie went upstairs to his desk, which he doesn't do often. We don't overlap very much upstairs. He's down here until I come down here for the day. And the only time we overlap really is right now during Mr. Irrelevant. And so when he was up there and I was up there, I was like, ooh, I got to pester him even more in front of I got to put on a show, right? And so...
yeah, and what happened was you weren't getting what you wanted.
Oh, it backfired.
And then you decided to lash out. And everybody, to a person, was basically like, no, you're the annoying one.
Speaking of annoying, Caleb Williams, quarterback of the Chicago Bears, a new book coming out written by Seth Wickersham. Is that how you say that, Joshie?
Wickersham, yeah.
Is it Wickersham?
Yeah.
Okay. A longtime ESPN reporter and writer, writing the book American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, which takes a deep dive into Caleb Williams and the Heisman Trophy winner's path to the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Wickersham's been making the rounds recently. And little leaks of this book have been starting to come out, which just makes the Bears look like the Bears. I haven't done one of these in a while. This is a dramatic reading from the piece written on ESPN.com about some of the excerpts from American Kings, a biography of the quarterback by Seth Wickersham. Quote, Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. End quote. Carl Williams, Caleb's father, told Seth Wickersham in the months before the 2024 NFL Draft. Caleb Williams wondered aloud to confidants, quote, do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it, with former Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. I don't want my son playing for the Bears, Carl Williams told several agents in 2024. But Caleb was concerned that if they did try to escape Chicago and the Bears refused to trade him, it would make a tough situation worse. In the end, Caleb Williams told Wickersham, quote, I wasn't ready to nuke the city. Nuke the city. After a pre-draft visit to the Bears facility, Williams believed he could be part of a process to turn the franchise around. I can do this for the team, Caleb said to his dad. I'm going to go to the Bears. The Bears declined to comment. That from the ESPN.com article, which is much longer than the dramatic reading I just reenacted. The Bears are a joke. Caleb Williams doesn't like playing there, clearly, very much. It's his second season. He's going to be on his third offensive coordinator or fourth. I mean, it's all a mess. And his father was right. Quarterbacks do go to Chicago to die. This is awesome. I'm not surprised, really, to be honest with you, by any of this. I love that it's coming out a year after the fact. But nobody wants to play for the Chicago Bears, especially at that position, even Caleb Williams.
This piece hits all the right notes. It's the over-involved parent. Mm-hmm. It is the entitled child. Mm-hmm. It is the Bears' utter dysfunction. Mm-hmm. It is accusations being thrown out about how we prepped, how things went. I think, here's the main thing of it. Caleb Williams and his father were proven ultimately right about the Bears coaching staff and what was going on there. The problem inherent is the heights of the organization still remain. The ownership is the same. The general manager is still the same. The guy making all the big-time decisions is the same exact guy. The dysfunction, I think, regardless of Ben Johnson and probably being a large improvement from their last head coach, still isn't going to be able to overcome what I think are institutionalized issues. Mm-hmm. They might have some hot streaks. They might, have a year or two where they pop up and seem to look better than others. But I think it is permeated the soul of what is the Chicago Bears. The other thing that I'm going to keep an eye on now, armed with the information I have about how they're trying to seek ways around basically the bargaining agreement, how they were even debating being part of the UFL, all that sort of stuff. Is if this team doesn't start winning fast and they don't have consistent success, it is going to come crashing down in similar ways we've seen. Because let me tell you, Caleb Williams' dad don't seem to be like the type of people who are going to humble themselves. It is going to be everyone else's fault other than their own.
Yeah, it seems to me like there will not be a time where they stop being vocal.
Right.
And stop voicing their opinion, specifically his father, Carl, who is a big part, apparently, of this book that is forthcoming.
Why did his father feel necessary to give all this information to Seth?
Yeah, did they not realize what Seth was doing or what he does for a living? I'm quite confused on if you're so hell-bent on your son not playing in Chicago, and this has happened before, right? Eli Manning is an example of it. John Elway is an example of it. If you're hell-bent on not going to a specific organization because their track record of, in this case, quarterback play is not very pretty, which it is not for the Bears, then you need to act on it if you're going to talk about it.
Correct.
Otherwise, you can't talk about it. Now, this just makes the Bears look desperate. Uh-huh. It makes Caleb Williams look like a jerk. It makes his father look like a jerk. And after a season where there was some encouraging signs for Bears fans from their rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams, this feels like it detracts all that. Right? It feels like it takes away from, encouraging a rookie season. It now looks like, he never wanted to be here in the first place. And he was right about the buffoons that were running the coaching side of things.
We also kind of have breezed past the fact that he, once speaking to them, felt like, this is the place that can do it, and these are the right people there. They're not. They weren't. They were fired. There's an aspect, too, where it seems like they would like the credit for the bright spots of Caleb's first season, but all of the bad stuff is not his fault. It seems like what they were setting that up for and the implications they were trying to make. I don't even know how much I frankly believe the not watching film with any of the coaches or how to do it or what to be doing. I have some serious questions about that. That would be an aptitude that is sort of unfathomable. Like high school programs are doing film watching better than they said the Chicago Bears are. Was there maybe a weird time when Eberflus was fired and there was some movement going around with like the offensive coordinator and all that? Sure, perhaps. But I don't think it was a season-long thing. Like he was watching film by himself in an empty quarterback room. Where are your teammates? Where's your QB coach?
It's like that scene from Draft Day. Nobody went to his birthday party.
Right. Where's the offensive coordinator? He just chose not to sit in on that type of stuff. Like, film review is a part of every week.
Not only is it a part, it is a crucial part of every week, right? I mean, it's not like it plays a small role. Some other quotes I left out during my dramatic reading. Quote, "I need to go to the Vikings," Williams told his father. "Let's do it," his father replied. But both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a divisional rival was extremely unlikely. So not only do you have the part of he didn't want to play for the Bears, he wanted to play for the Bears' arch rival, which is just awesome. Yeah. So what you're telling me right now, and what this article is telling me, Caleb Williams is jealous of J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell's the big reason there. I'm sure their GM also had a lot to do with the meeting they had that convinced him that was the right spot for him. But, I mean, we're going to learn a lot about Ben Johnson, about Caleb Williams, about how they handle it. Because right now, we haven't heard the sunny side of best environment for a first overall pick ever. Hopes are there. Hopes are sky high there. They're thinking they're a playoff team again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if things are going to... Is Ben Johnson going to be one of those great offensive coordinators, but subpar head coaches? There's many of those guys. I'd argue Mike McDaniel is fast-tracking himself into being great offensive coordinator, not a guy who should be a head coach. There's going to be moments where things don't go well in Chicago this year. Is it going to be, hey, he doesn't even want to be here? Because that's going to be the instant retort of a poor game from him is going to be met with, well, does he want to be a Chicago Bear?
Never wanted to be here. Right.
And he could say, things have changed, it's different here, but we can always point back to it.
Can I just say this as a Packers fan? And I want to get to Will in a minute because he's a Bears fan, and I want to hear his unfiltered opinion on this. I'm sure he'll spin it in quite a way because he's good at that.
I've already heard his attempt.
Oh, boy.
Like his Tyler Warren call.
Yeah, exactly, like his Tyler Warren call.
Never said that.
Yeah.
But as a Packers fan reading this, I'm so glad this didn't come out last year. Because you could pretty quickly put the kibosh on it after you draft him and you say, oh, no, everybody's good. The fact that it came out the following season, when all of the staffing changes have been made already, and the Bears go ahead and decline to comment on the story, it tells you that, to your point, Joshy, if things start not going so well for the Bears, we can expect what we've always seen from them, and that would be a downward spiral.
Yep.
Right? One bad thing turns into multiple bad things. For example, last year, when the Bears started the season relatively well, they allowed a game-ending Hail Mary to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and then they lost, 10 in a row, 8 in a row?
That was the end of their season.
That was the end of their season after they really, in theory, should have beat what ended up being the runner-up in the NFC, in the Washington Commanders.
I believe they did win a game at the end of the year. It's foggy memory, though. I'm not sure.
He's saying
Didn't they win the last game of the year? I don't know.
You don't need to spell it out, Josh. I know what he's saying. Yeah, you beat Malik Willis. Congratulations.
Hey, when you're as pathetic as Will and the Bears, you have to cling to things.
Caleb Williams undefeated at Lambeau Field, which is true, but anyway. All right, well, what do you make of this?
Williams, fourth best quarterback in last year's draft.
Also true.
This tells me two things about Caleb Williams, all these excerpts. One, he's smart. He was able to decipher. He sat down with Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus, and he knew that they weren't good coaches. He knew that they were stupid. And obviously, his dad's right. Like, the Bears don't produce good quarterbacks in history, and Kevin O'Connell does, right? So, I mean, you can't fault him for that. He's just spitting facts. He's right. But things are different now. And this shows that he's smart. A 22-year-old guy that's never taken a snap in the NFL sat down with a head coach. Like, that's probably a pretty nerve-wracking conversation, one would think. And for him to sit down and his takeaways from it is, this guy's not the guy for me. He's going to ruin my career. That takes guts. That's smart. Number two, this tells me that he's battle-tested. He's been through the darkest depths of his career. Like, can it get any worse than it was last year? Probably.
Yes.
But not much worse. So I think...
I actually would argue it could get much worse.
The smoke screen, too, is that this was all a year ago.
If I were to be a betting man, the worst is yet to come.
I would agree with that.
Wow.
I imagine a young Will Sommers, when he saw Mitch Trubisky have a really solid season, Pro Bowl season, he thought
MVP.
Only getting better.
Remember when he was the most bet on MVP that one off season?
I do. He was also the most voted on.
That bet,
he won the MVP.
Nickelodeon
valuable player. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson have zero of those.
How do we think that went for Will? Not that his speaking at the mic was poor or anything, but that was all BS.
What's that?
Him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a moment of honesty in there.
No,
to be completely honest,
a spin zone.
There's not a lot of good things you can take away from this article, so I'm trying my best. Trying to spin it in a way to stay positive.
Did you at any point consider maybe addressing it truthfully?
No.
Okay.
Do you know me?
Yeah, I do.
No. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is that Caleb Williams is very smart.
Chef Ed chimes in, the Bears still sucking always. Will Legends chimes in, yeah, he beat our second stringers. Good job, Will. Isaac chimes in, says, I'm more worried about Jaden Reed hiring the most demanding agent and complaining about team decisions. I don't know if that was really the case there. We talked about that a little bit on Wednesday's episode, if you want to go back.
I'm worried about my hangnail, too. I don't know what that has to do with our conversation.
Hey, man.
Josh is on one today.
Let's keep it relevant.
I see what you did there.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a hangnail?
No, do not. I was just thinking of things that what possibly could the most. Did you know how many people Scott Boras is the agent for?
A lot.
Yeah,
he's probably he's the most demanding agent. Also,
sure, that's what we think.
Well, I would just say this:
he's the most public and the one with the strongest PR on him.
I've realized something about myself. I'm an agent defender.
Oh, that's gross. You start defending landlords next? Prison guards?
Got any more in that dome of yours?
None that are really safe. I got more.
I was going to say, let's
share them here.
Yeah, let's go in a different direction.
Let's stop it at landlords. Yeah. No, I guess I defend agents from the perspective of these are the guys that you chose to represent you, and it is a cutthroat industry, right? If you take their player, you are taking their income.
Much like landlords, agents are a leech on society.
I don't know that that's false. So I'm not going to disagree with that.
So, thank you for defending them.
Can we talk about the PGA Championship for a moment?
Of course.
Are you aware who's in first place?
Yes.
How do you say that name properly?
I believe it is pronounced Vegas.
Okay, it's Jonathan Vegas, then.
Yes.
His name is Johnny Vegas.
Yes.
That's so rad.
Uh-huh.
Strouf has
pops up every so often.
PTSD from trying to pronounce golfers' names ever since the AmFam Championship.
A couple of years back. We've told that story before, yeah. Miguel Angel
Cabrera.
No, that's somebody else. Jimenez, yeah. I said Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Yeah. To Andy North.
Andy North.
On air.
To get shamed by Andy North. One of the nicest people ever.
It was good hearing from him last night. I was watching SportsCenter. There was Andy North. And I thought to myself, boy, was he disappointed in me that day.
He probably still remembers it.
Dark times. Hard times, just like it is in Chicago.
More embarrassing moment for you, Strouf. The Angel Jimenez to Andy North or the 3-cone drill?
More embarrassing?
Yeah.
It's the Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Strouf got what he wanted. It's some sweet, sweet attention. Some clickies, some viewies.
I mean, he also got some attention from Andy North after it.
Yeah,
but it didn't.
Yeah, but at the wrong kind. It was him looking at him like you're an idiot. You disappointed somebody you hold in high regard.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But it was also just embarrassing. Whereas the 3-cone, I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how bad it was, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, I wasn't wearing a.
You thought you were doing a good job pronouncing his name.
Yeah, I did. Whereas I wasn't wearing tight clothes is not a bit.
Right.
Like,
right.
wearing
There
tight clothes
was
is
some
a bit.
mutual understanding there that this isn't going to be pretty.
Right.
We didn't know how ugly it would be, but we knew it wasn't going to be pretty.
Oh, man. I've had a year, man.
Yeah.
Think about my life this year.
I'd rather not.
Me as well.
Moving on. So the schedule came out Wednesday night. Let's talk about that.
A retrospect. Yeah, let's think wistfully of the thing one other person is going to care about. Your girlfriend. You're lucky you have me here. You would have just went on a 5-minute tirade, and the viewers would have plummeted. I moved to a new apartment. I switched desks up with my...
Keep going, Josh. This is good.
You just want to do it?
No, because then he's going to trick me into actually telling his year-long, and I don't want to do that. I want to retain our viewers. I want to keep them here.
I moved into a new apartment. I wasn't going to mention that. It's more about shaving my head.
We got it.
So you've had a big
Keep
week.
going.
Great. Tell us about the Packers schedule. What are your takeaways, Strouf?
I got tears in my eyes. Yeah, schedule came out on Wednesday. Holy smokies. I can't see. Hold on, Josh. Talk for a minute. I can't see anything.
The Packers schedule came out. I made Strouf laugh so hard.
My contact folded.
He's having a hard time with his contacts there.
Can we just do a couple more Stroufisms of his year while we wait?
What else has he done this year? I pay so little attention.
He went to the draft. I'm sure that's a big one.
Yeah. I got to dream accomplished in my hometown. I got to see a once-in-a-lifetime experience right in my own backyard.
I got to interview Carrington Valentine.
I think we're boys now. I think he's my guy.
I don't speak like that.
No, but it's the best way to get through it now.
I think I fixed my contact. Wow.
Heavens, thank you.
Having a Betsy. All right, deep breath.
I mean, this is...
Are we going to talk about the schedule or not,
He thinks it's the funniest.
Yeah.
No, we are. All right. The schedule's out for the Green Bay Packers. And look, you knew the opponents already, but I think seeing, and look, I'm such a nerd, man. I love the schedule release day. It's one of my favorite days of the offseason. Just because you have a roadmap of what it looks like for the Green Bay Packers, and rolling through it a little bit, I do believe it's somewhere between 8 and 13 wins. And that's truly dependent on, what are you laughing at?
8 and 13 wins? Okay.
A 5-game swing?
Inside of that? I mean, most of the teams in the NFL are going to be 8 and 13. That's just how this goes. I mean, goodness. That sounded better in your head, didn't it? That was one you've been workshopping and thought, yeah, it's a pretty good take. And it comes out and the rest of the room looks at you and goes, better off not saying anything at all.
I can't do this anymore. You're done. Call it a day.
I mean, there's got to be some wins and there's got to be some losses.
Well, you just want to do the show, man. I can't handle this guy today.
I mean, he's right. He's just spitting facts. He's combating your Friday energy perfectly. He's like the potion.
I have met you head on.
He stepped up to the plate.
You haven't met me head on. You're like a train versus like a bird.
I put a my boot print is on your forehead as I trampled over you. Size 10.5. Bleep kickers right to the noggin.
You got small feet.
Yeah, I do. Small hands. I've luckily evaded these tiny hands.
Do you have small hands?
Look at these little things.
Hold on. Put your right hand up to mine. Oh, wow. You do have small hands.
Yeah.
Jeez. Hunter. I don't know how you got the nickname.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we were talking about. The schedule?
There's this big thing on the side of the screen you can check, Strouf.
Pretty easy week 2 through 6. You got to play some good teams.
You have a bye in
beat
there.
some good
the
teams.
3 through 6 you're looking for. Week 3 through 6. Week 2 is tough against Washington on Thursday Night Football. But after that, I agree. Right, you've got some doozies. I'm not a believer in Dallas. That's Sunday Night Football week 4. Not a big believer in them. Cincinnati, I think, will be a high-scoring game. Packers should win it just because they have the advantage defensively. But all in all, that could end up being a really high-scoring game. Those are two of the offenses I'm highest on in the NFL.
Joe Burrow plays
now,
or not, and who knows?
You may say it's crappy analysis and way to go out on a limb, Trophy, when I say there's somewhere between 8 wins, 8-9, or 13-4. And here's why.
He went back to it.
Doubling down.
Am I crazy, Will?
No, I mean,
he's got to have another take that we don't have to go back to the one.
He's ranging from them not making the playoffs to being under 500 to winning the NFC North.
Yes, because it's totally dependent on Jordan Love. And as we pointed out time and time again, he needs to be very, very good. Number one, given his contract, but number two, given everything around him on this offense. Right? We've talked about how there's no excuses anymore for Jordan Love entering 2025. Given the contract, given the pieces around him, given the level of investment the Packers have made offensively. If he's last year Jordan Love, they might be an 8-win team. I struggle.
Hold on, walk me through that.
The schedule's tough.
Are you saying the schedule's tougher, therefore there's less wins even if he performs the same?
Yes, exactly why.
Gotcha.
Right? But if he gets back to, and maybe not the entirety of this form, but if he gets back to what he looked like at the end of 2023 and into the postseason when they beat up on Dallas, then I think they have a legitimate chance to win the NFC North. And when I say between 8 and 13, I don't know that there's very much tweener. Like, I don't really think they're a 9-win team or a 10-win team. I think if things go south, they're an 8-win team.
So your take would have been way better as they're either not in the playoffs or they win the NFC North.
Pretty much.
Because that's compelling. Now I'm into it.
I like that we're workshopping this together. This is good, yeah.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by that. I don't think the low end, because of how efficient the running game is and how good Matt LaFleur is a play caller.
But then that should be the high end, right? Like, if Matt LaFleur is actually in his bag, like he should be, and the excuses go by the wayside for Love.
What I'm saying
this is a team that should be able to win the NFC North, yes.
What I'm saying is, if Jordan Love, we even get the not so great throwing it into the opponent's chest for seemingly no reason, like just missing guys, I think even that guy, with what we've seen, there's enough there for the roster's good enough, is my point.
Yeah.
The roster's good enough and deep enough, and they've added enough talent that I think the floor is higher than you seem to think it is. I think the top end, honestly, is probably a little bit,
probably 11-12.
Yeah. It just seems like there's still so much youth, and youth is an excuse, I know, but there's young guys who are going to be heavy, big-time contributors.
Totally agree. And they should be, right? When you look at the Edrin Coopers, the Javon
And you have to factor in how unlucky you can be with, I mean, the Detroit Lions were decimated.
Yeah, but they were still a damn good team up until the end, right? And they were still, what were they, a 14-win team last year?
Believe so.
Or was it 15? They might have been 15-2. So I guess what I'm getting at is I do believe how you start the season will ultimately dictate what that looks like. Because Detroit's still going to be a good team, right? And this is still their division until otherwise proven. But if you're able to take care of business week 1, catch the Lions, you have all offseason now to prepare for them. If you catch the Lions off guard week 1, they're learning their new coordinators. They've got a new play caller offensively. If you can catch them slipping early, and all of a sudden you're 1-0, you're 1-0 in the NFC North, you finally beat them for the first time since Thanksgiving in 2023, I think that just sets you up in such a unique position. You have the early season divisional win. That means you have the tiebreaker early on, and obviously as you get later into the season, I think 5 of their final 7 games are all divisional, the remainder of their divisional matchups. That's when things can obviously take quite a turn. But the week 1 game, I can't stress the importance of it enough. And then there's obviously a couple other matchups that came out on the schedule that you go, okay, I've got my eye on that one. Monday Night Football, Week 10 against the reigning Super Bowl champion at Lambeau Field. That's a big time prove to me how good you are game. Right? I think we used the term quite a bit last year, Josh, you have a measuring stick game. Mm-hmm. That's kind of middle of the season. You have who you know is going to be one of the better teams in the NFC, if not the entire league, in the Philadelphia Eagles coming to your house on a national TV primetime game on Monday Night Football. That seems like the measuring stick game before you get really into the thick of divisional play.
There's going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about how good this team is heading into the playoffs. The competition in terms of the floor, and there's really, 2 gimme games you would say against teams that are truly bad teams that you think don't stand much of a chance. You could maybe push that to 3. But aside from that...
I'll just rattle them off quick. Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, I would say are the 3 games where you
I would say Arizona has a chance to be probably better than what we played them last year, correct?
We did.
And it was pretty ugly for them in that game. I think that team might be a little bit better. Like it's really the Browns and what was the second team? Sorry. Panthers, yeah. Which I think
Giants too.
Yeah, I think the Panthers could be even a lot better, but that's still not a very good football team. The thing is you're going to face competition. Now, the Packers and their division record was so poor that should have probably been our indication, but the Packers also beat some decent teams last year. They just weren't division opponents. It's not like they were just beating up on the lowly whoever, name whatever, the Titans, etc. There was enough signs there where you could make a case. By the time Week 18 rolls around, you're going to have played so many good teams, and if you've lost to all of them, or you've eked out a couple lucky wins because Lamar Jackson was hurt, there is going to be no confusion.
No.
Either you're a contender or you're not, and you'll know by the time the postseason starts.
And especially Thanksgiving on.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to know how hot this team is. You're going to know how good they are. You're going to know where they rank in the NFC. Here's why. Final 7 games for the Packers. Thanksgiving at the Detroit Lions. That's a noon kickoff. The following Sunday, 10 days later, home against the Chicago Bears. Then it's a road trip for 13 days. Well, 6, really. Sunday, the 14th of December, at Denver, who was a playoff team last year. 6 days later, you're at Chicago. The following weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, you host the Baltimore Ravens, and then you wrap your season up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a stretch at the end of the year, right? You're going to be battle-tested. You're going to face some good teams. You're going to face likely, I would guess, at least 3, if not 4 playoff teams in that stretch, right? Assuming Detroit gets there, assuming Denver's back in the playoffs, and assuming Baltimore's back in the playoffs. That's at least 3 playoff teams in your final 7 games. And then who knows what the Bears could be. You've got both of your Bears matchups and both of your Vikings matchups in there. Yeah. So you will be so battle-tested, divisional football, hard-nosed, NFC North football on top of the Broncos and the Ravens down the stretch, who were both playoff teams last year. I love that stretch. I love ending that way. Obviously, you hope they can stay healthy with kind of a mini-bye after Thanksgiving. But there's really no excuses for this team this year. You're either a contender or you're not, and it's going to be very evident in the regular season.
Yeah. It's going to leave us no questions, and to me, that's a good thing. There's going to be things that happen. People get injured. Teams are going to look worse than you expect them to. That's just the nature of the NFL, but there's enough instances of this team could be a contender, and it's going to show. And are you going to hang in there, Or are you going to you're going to be down by 24 and then crawl back into a game like you did against the Vikings, where you try in your head to spin it into a positive, even though you got your doors blown off for the entire first half. Mm-hmm. I will say I don't mind seeing the Detroit Lions week 1.
No, I like that.
Two new coordinators there. There's still plenty of talent on that team, regardless of who the coordinators are, but they're not going to be clicking on full cylinders like they are going to be the second time you meet them. Mm-hmm. And with the way the division is shaking out, stealing maybe a win of a game that you don't play your best, but the other team played worse, I'm not gonna apologize for that.
As you shouldn't. So I mentioned I'm a schedule nerd. I watched.
Being a scheduled nerd is way nerdier than me being a draft nerd.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
It is the least.
Let me tell you what I'm about to tell you, though.
Oh, no.
Last night, by the way, so when I moved to my new apartment that Josh you mentioned before, upgraded the couch. Dude, it is a life. I just had a futon previously. I had
of course
futon.
You did.
Yeah, I had like a black leather futon.
Leather?
Don't even call it leather. You know it wasn't leather. That was plastic.
Pleather,
Don't
maybe?
lie to people.
Yeah, pleather. So I just had a futon because I don't know, I was broke in 22 when I moved into my first apartment, you know. So got a real couch. Boy, is that a game changer. I will never have a bad couch again.
Mussolini bought a bad couch once.
And how long did it last?
A year before I said we can't live like this. Can't do it. It's a nice looking couch.
Well, here, hold on. I guess this will be a good example. Will, you're in college. You live with college buddies. So
how many pieces of furniture do you have that are from the garbage?
A lot. Facebook Marketplace mostly, or recycled from.
What kind of
friends.
couch do you have?
Leather couch.
Is it?
It has a hole in it, like a massive hole in one of the cushions. Like you can see all the foam and everything inside.
Yep. Yeah, this adds up. Yeah.
Pretty old recliner.
So that's the stage I was in, and then I bought a futon, and I lasted with the futon for about 4 years.
I had a couch we just wrapped because the cover was so bad. We just wrapped in a blanket, and it just became the couch cover.
Well, I lived in a studio apartment for a year, so if I wanted to actually lay down, my bed was right there, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, so I've upgraded to a nice couch, and boy, do I milk that puppy when I get home from work. I just lay there. Other than when I'm cooking dinner and have to bring the dog out, I'm on that couch.
I'm not a couch
midnight.
guy.
I love the couch.
Don't spend a lot of time on the couch.
Are you a bed guy? Are you strict to bed?
No, we have a third bedroom that has become my library. I sit back there all day.
Your library.
Uh-huh.
Do you have like an armchair?
Yes, it is an armchair with a nice little footrest.
He's so sophisticated.
There's probably 350 books in that room.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've got a big bookshelf in our living room. They're all my girlfriend's books, and well, yeah, I guess you can probably assume what type of books they are.
You didn't need to tell us that they were your girlfriend's books. Like we knew, man. It's okay.
Good point, Hunter. Score one for him.
So anyway, I laid on the couch last night. I watched not one, not two, but 3 different interviews that Mike North, who is the NFL's vice president of broadcast planning, did after the schedule came out. So he did one with Kay Adams, he did one with Ross Tucker, he did one with Rich Eisen. I watched all of them. They all asked him different things, which was nice. There was only a few repeats. And it's just fascinating to hear the breakdown of how the schedule is created.
No, it's not.
No, it is. Because they actually make 13 different versions. Or 13 it was, 12 or 13 I think he said it was this year. And the commissioner, Roger Goodell, is ultimately the one that signs off on it. Now, Mike North will kind of whittle it down to the one he likes the best. He'll bring that to the commissioner. The commissioner will ask some questions like, hey, why isn't Tennessee in any primetime games after having the number 1 overall pick, etc. And it's just cool to hear, you know, how did we get to Vikings and Steelers in Dublin, Ireland? You know, back on February 6th, Ben Brust reported it was Packers-Steelers. Well, lo and behold, the Vikings weren't reached out to until mid-March after free agency had begun. Mm-hmm. So does that mean Ben was right? Maybe it does. Or maybe it doesn't.
The much more interesting scheduling interview is the couple it was on the East Coast that used to do
MLB.
all of the MLB themselves, basically. That, to me, is interesting. Mike North, whatever his name is.
Oh, dude, he's sweet. You should see him.
If I never hear Mike North's name again, I'll be happy.
You will hear it one more time. Well, not one more time. You will hear it at this time next year. I watch his interviews every year.
See,
I'm fascinated by how the bread is buttered. It's just cool to me.
But like Mike North's job, if we're being real, AI will probably take it over in a year or two. Like the couple doing the MLB schedule, like that's just a cool story on top of like 162 games, like. But yeah, Mike North, like dude's gonna be replaced by a computer in like 2 years
because but you can't replace storylines. You can't replace. I
guarantee you AI is powerful enough to take into account storylines like that.
Yeah.
Hunter, we used AI on the show 2 days ago and it got it wrong. So let's not act like AI is bulletproof.
That's why I'm saying in like 2 years. But if we keep feeding the AI more information, it will get better. That's the whole point of it. So I'm saying in
Hunter,
like 2 years.
Tell me why you hate American jobs, Hunter. Tell me why you hate the workforce. Tell me why.
I'm not hating on the workforce. I am pro-worker. I'm just saying that if we're being realistic
it sounds like you're pro-computer.
No, I'm a realist, and I understand how capitalism works, and I understand Roger Goodell wants every single dollar he can get. If he doesn't have to pay Mike North and he can just type it into a computer and let the AI go, he's going to do that, and Mike North is going to be on the street looking for a new job. Like, that's what's going to happen
Mike North is more like us or more like a C-suite executive?
Us.
Yeah.
We're moving on. He's not.
Well, he is a C-suite executive.
Yeah.
I'm not.
What do you think his salary is? Do you think it's probably 7 figures?
Probably find out.
I don't think you're going to be able to find that.
We don't need to be giving time to this.
It's not out there. That's too bad.
So Strouf, pro agent, pro C-suite executive. Okay, we know where Strouf lands on
pro
things.
Workforce, anti-AI, pro workforce.
I'm just a realist.
Okay, so this story has Joshy in a tizzy for whatever reason. It came out, I believe, yesterday on TMJ4, and then I know it made its rounds on the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and all the newspaper. I'm just going to read you some of it. So it's about a guy by the name of Rick Allstat who had his season tickets revoked from him after not attending any Packers games and selling all of his tickets for every game for 4 years in a row. His parents had gotten sick. He moved to Nevada, so he's been selling his season tickets. In February, he was noted by the Packers that, hey, your tickets have been revoked. Because you have been selling all of them for multiple years. And again, he lives in Nevada. His parents were sick. He appealed it, essentially saying that the tickets have been in his family forever and ever. He's disappointed that he can no longer support the Packers, the way he has for years and years. But here's the thing. I think we've talked about this before when the Packers sent out the note a couple months ago that they would be revoking tickets from holders who sell 100% of their seats for multiple years. I viewed that as a good thing, right? I view it as you're cracking down on opposing fans. At the end of the day, you want Packers fans in the building. You can't really manage, if you're selling it to a Bears fan or a Lions fan or a Vikings fan on Ticketmaster, because there's no way to filter that, which there should be. That was my $1 million business idea a while back. Never followed up on that. I think this is fine. I don't have a problem with revoking his tickets. Yeah, it's a sad story, and obviously I feel for him when real life stuff gets in the way. But 4 years is 4 years. If you're selling every one of your tickets, not one, not two, not three, but 4 years in a row, what's the point of having season tickets? If that's your income, find another income. Sorry, I just think that's the way it should be.
I expected that to be your response. I expected you to toe the party line, unwittingly be the speaking portion for the Packers, doing their PR for them. Them removing tickets has nothing to do with them wanting to fill the stadium with fans, Packers fans. Just so you know, we have to start. We have to start from that point.
Okay.
They don't want people making profit off of a thing they think is their own. They want control. The reason we moved to digital tickets was to be able to track all this stuff. They said it was for ease of use and we're moving forward. No. This is about profits.
I would agree.
This is about control. So they're pushing this with the theory of we want to fill it with Packers fans. They don't care who's in that stadium.
I don't know that part's true.
They don't care. Full stop. Don't care.
Some people do not. I would say some people do.
They want the most amount of money. And they do get a cut of the portions that gets the reselling, but they want that money to be going all to the Packers. They don't want other people making money. Second, a benefit of removing somebody's season tickets and sending them a form letter, not addressing their specific concerns, of a just flat out denial once he appealed it, tells me they like the seat tax. You know what the seat tax is?
Phil, man.
It's about thousands of dollars you have to pay on top of getting the privilege to pay for season tickets. So if you get a package of 4, I believe it's around $10,000. They don't care about, your parents were dying of illness, of cancer and dementia. They care about, I want $10,000 more on top of the season tickets that I'll get. I think it is extremely flies in the face of everything Packers fans and the Packers themselves say about themselves. We're community oriented. We're a family. We do all the right things. We do right by our community. You didn't send the guy a warning. You didn't say, hey, we've noticed this. Is there a reason this is happening? You revoked his tickets and then did not give him the opportunity to correct the error. That is rent-seeking behavior. That is acting like a landlord. That is not acting like a steward of the community, of a place concerned about all the things they say is accurate. What they're doing is taking, this guy's a gold package recipient.
Yep, so 2 games or 3 games a year in last year's case.
Tickets have been in his family for 40 years.
Yep.
His parents are the reason the Green Bay Packers still exist. Because without the gold package and moving games to Milwaukee and those people buying season tickets, the Green Bay Packers ceased to be an entity in the NFL. They ceased to be the multi-billion-dollar franchise that they are now. So to treat somebody like that, of you sold your tickets, you're done, you got no recourse.
But hold on a minute. So I agree. In this specific scenario, it does rub me a little bit the wrong way.
Yeah, it should.
Because you hear the background, and obviously it's a sad story. It is, given everything that this man had going on in his life. But let's not act like this is the first time this has happened, right? It's not like we unknowing this isn't the first offseason that we've heard the headline of the Packers are going to revoke season tickets.
Not everybody's as tuned into the press releases they send out.
But they put that in the renewal every year. At the end, we once again have done this initiative. This shouldn't come as a surprise. And at the end of the day, I understand life gets in the way of things, but not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years in a row without being able or wanting to attend a game or attending a game. What's the point of season tickets then? This is the longest waiting list in the NFL. So I hear some of your points on, yes, here's why this is what's wrong with it. But Joshy, I'm on the season ticket list. I'm never going to see them.
Right, and the reason the people who are siding with the Packers here, it's self-interest. You want your tickets to come up sooner. And most of the people, when we talked about Jen Gabe and Chewy, were all people, I've been on the list for 35 years. I haven't gotten... It's selfish. Because you're not putting yourself in the situation of the person who had their tickets removed and life got ahead of them. You're putting them in the situation in, I want my tickets. If you reverse your viewership on it, it's going to change how you feel about it. And the big factor here is this person wasn't aware. Change the fact of they should have known there's press releases about it. Whatever. I don't care. This is a Packers fan. Like, what are they doing? Why are they pretending to be a community-based thing? And we haven't mentioned, you've raised prices every single year, making it harder and more difficult to get up there. Yep. You then screw the gold package by doing this year a Monday and a Thursday night game.
So that wasn't up to them, but yes.
Do you think maybe we could talk to old Mike North and say, hey, we've got a special thing going on here. Can we not screw over our fans that have saved our franchise? Yeah, I think Mike North would be pretty receptive to that.
Do you have gold package tickets in your family?
I do not.
Okay, interesting.
No. I have no interest in being a season ticket holder. Not something I'm seeking out. What I'm saying is it's more and more expensive. It's more and more difficult to get to games because now I have to have a Thursday, I have to have a Monday, I have to have all sorts of days open. I have to take off of work to go. And me selling my tickets is somehow why can you make money off of me, but I can't make money off of mine? And again, I paid the tax.
But again,
they're my season tickets.
I mean, you could sell one game and go to the other.
Sure.
Or last year's case, it was 3 divisional games. Go to one, sell the other 2.
I'm fortunately
sell the preseason tickets.
I'm fortunately not in the situation where my parents are dying and I have to be a caregiver. If you want to be on the side of the Packers made the right move here, fine. I find it completely antithetical to what the Green Bay Packers believe to be.
I hear you on that. And again, I think you make a lot of really good points that I agree with. It's not necessarily this single situation that I'm referring to or defending.
No, and I think there are people
because I think the idea at the end of the day is the right idea.
Correct. And I think the recourse here would be when he appeals to meet him at that.
Sure.
Here's the situation. Here's why. Plenty of people are going to have sob stories. That's part of what this is going to go because it is lucrative to have these Green Bay Packers tickets.
Bingo.
But I think this guy here, when you explain the situation,
yes, it makes you feel for him, and it makes you feel for this specific scenario.
And it's very insulting to be met with a form letter in terms of a response.
I agree with that. That sucks.
Because they said it's only 1%. So how many of that 1% of people that are selling all of their tickets for 4 years even issued an appeal? I'm sure there's plenty of people who are like, yeah, we got caught.
We got caught.
Right. I mean, we had no interest in going. We weren't planning to. No one in our family wants to. We were just putting them up basically
to make a buck. Yeah.
The other thing is, if it mattered that there was Packer fans in the building, wouldn't you have a marketplace available of Packers fans selling to Packers fans?
That's my $1 million business idea, Joshy. Someday, you and me, buddy.
Wouldn't that make sense? Instead of jumping to, we're removing your tickets, we're keeping the tax for the seats that we got.
And again, it does sound like a little bit of a mask. I will give you that. But I would also say it does seem like there's been an uptick in visiting fans in recent years. It does. It's just I'm there every home game for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
you're seeing more Lions fans, more Vikings fans, more Bears fans than I ever have.
That to me is what it is. That's chicken or egg.
Sure.
Are less people going because they're less interested in going, or less people going because it's not suitable for a family of 4 to go and pay all the prices to go?
Super
especially
expensive.
If it's a Sunday night or a Monday night, you're taking off work, you're taking off school, like all the money involved in that. The reason this was the leading story when they raised ticket prices yet again was because this was supposed to be the red herring. This was supposed to distract you. Mm-hmm. And I think this is also functioning as a red herring of it's becoming less and less affordable. The Green Bay Packers are trying to skip out on their taxes. They're trying to pay less on their leases. They're trying to navigate their around the way businessmen are known to do. Mm-hmm. But we're the Green Bay Packers. We're community owned. But yet, we're going to screw you when it fits us the best.
You're just going to yell, "Eat the rich" next?
Yes. Yes. Their rainy day fund is like $750 million.
Oh, it's a lot of money. Yeah. I went to for the first time ever, I went to the owner meeting last year. I'm not an owner. I don't own one of the pieces of paper. But Kyle Wallace is,
yes.
And he invited me to come with him.
A guest, right?
Yeah, you can bring a guest. So I was the guest. You could actually bring 3 guests, if I'm not mistaken. I think you get 4 tickets. So I went with Kyle. And, I mean, number one, it's just a really boring presentation. But
correct.
They give you a handout with all the financials. Whew.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
Yeah, not bad.
Money's still green there.
Not a bad business model over there in the old 920.
Yeah.
All right, Joshy. Kind of a downer on a Friday, but that was a good passion out of you.
Someone's got to bring it here.
I was also going to say, like,
they're 8 or 13.
It's weird that the Packers would not want, and I understand from a game day in the game moment itself, not wanting visiting fans in your stadium, but it's better when you have your fans coming in. Again, talk about it all the time. I'm a Cowboys fan. The Cowboys built the Star, and it's like their Titletown district, well away from their stadium in the Dallas area, literally to get fans to go to multiple places in the city of Dallas and to come and visit the city and have visiting fans come in. Bless you.
Cough, I think.
Sorry, yes, that was a cough. Okay. I tried to hit my mic off and I missed the cough button.
I had my mic on, so I was going to pick up anyway.
But
continue.
But they do that specifically to try and get visiting fans to come in because they understand that's better for the community by having those people coming in and spending their money. So it's weird to me that the Packers would want that. They want to build a Titletown district. They want to do those things to make it more of a destination around the stadium, but then say, nope, we don't want you to actually come on the game days. You have to come any other time, but when it's the game day, no, you can't come. The time when people really are actually going to want to come to Green Bay. It's just a weird, talking out of both sides of their mouth.
I think that's a fair point. I also think, and this is based off of nothing, but if I were to guess, the real issue with opposing fans coming in is they're less likely to visit the pro shop. They're less likely to do the Lambeau tour. They're less likely to spend a lot of money on concessions because they had to pay for a hotel, they had to pay for flight, and they had to pay for transportation to and from all of that. If I were to guess, a Packers fan is more profitable to Mark Murphy and his rainy day fund than an opposing fan.
Hey, why do we have to take a shot at Mark Murphy out the door?
Because ever since Mark Murphy took over, there has been a stated and realizable difference between the way the Packers treat their fans in the community as opposed to when it was Bob Harlan.
All right, fair enough. All right, ton of reaction rolling in on YouTube in the text line. I want to get to this quick. Jonathan says, it's a you can't stop buying our product or you'll never buy them again. And by the way, you must use our product the way we say you should. Situation from the Packers. Ron in the Key chimes in, says, who cares why they're doing it, Josh? Why wouldn't they be smart and spin it?
Huh?
I don't understand that.
I don't know what that is.
I figured maybe it would click for you. Yeah, so it was a couple minutes ago. It's all right.
Yeah.
And then finally, a guy who will be in Lambeau Field quite a bit this year. Barry Sorrell chimes in.
Barry Sorrell?
Barry says
99 will shine.
99 will shine.
Hell yeah, brother.
Love it, he says. Leonardo says great point by Josh. All right, good passion there. Good heated debate. Plenty of heated debates this weekend.
Spirited debate, maybe?
The great debate, the great spirited debate. Indeed. Yeah. Shout out to our friends at Door County Distillery. We were going to get to Giannis. We don't have time for Giannis. All right. And speaking of Door County Distillery, you learn something new every day. We learn something new today. Time now for What We Learn, which is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Whether you like the gin, whether you like the vodka, whether you like the rum, the brandy, cherry brandy with Door County cherries infused in the brandy for your old fashions, or the whiskey, 27-time gold medal award-winning single malt whiskey, my favorite, the bourbon and the rye whiskey. Check them out, doorcountydistillery.com. Local, affordable, award-winning, available all over the great state of Wisconsin. Come on, baby, do the right thing. Support local and support Door County Distillery. Visit the website, doorcountydistillery.com. Here's a list of unique cocktail recipes as well as the retailer nearest you. Will was grinning at me as I said we're getting to What We Learned. So that's where we're going to go, I think, is Will Sommers.
I was just laughing because you were looking at me, but I learned whenever you're sad, you can simply wander on down to the local basketball court and just dominate, and you feel so much better about yourself. It's a mental health tip to anyone out there.
It's a mental health tactic, he just said.
If you're beating up on teenagers, we need that ass.
I wasn't beating up on him.
He was a physical.
See, I think that would have the exact opposite effect on me.
That would make me sad.
I'd feel pathetic.
Yeah, I would too.
Well, it just depends how you spin it. I felt bad about it at first, but then I was like, oh, that was kind of awesome.
Yeah, fair. Josh, you learn anything?
I learned that after Ohio lawmakers tried to ban flag planting, they've now proposed a bill to prevent networks from making Ohio State play games at noon, except against Michigan, because it is historic. Ohio State Representative Tex Fisher from Youngstown has proposed legislation that would prevent a state university in Ohio from competing in a game before 3:30 p.m. if both teams are ranked in the top 10 of the AP poll.
That is so specific.
Basically, they want this person, this Tex fella, has felt slighted by basically the Big Noon Kickoff, which is a Big Ten entity, that he thinks those games should be in prime time because they are big deals.
I'll tell you what, dude.
So he feels like, if I were to guess, it's like an SEC bias thing, and Ohio State somehow is getting slighted by playing at noon.
I know it's May, but I'm just going to say this before we get to the football season. College football hardos scare me.
Yeah.
They legitimately frighten me.
Oh, they're the best.
It's a whole
fans.
nother it's a whole nother world that, like, the SEC especially, college football hardos live in. It's crazy. Hunter, what'd you learn?
I've been sitting on this for a while. We just haven't gotten to it. But a student in Tokyo, had to be airlifted off of Mount Fuji, and he then 3 days later returned to be airlifted off of it again. He was hiking the mountain, had to make an emergency call due to altitude sickness. 3 days later, went to hike back up to go and get his stuff that they left there, and then had to call again and be airlifted off because of altitude sickness. So I learned people just don't learn their lessons.
Second time.
Yeah, I think you should just leave him there.
Second time, he's figured out, pal.
Apparently, it is free to be airlifted there. And now, like, people in the community are saying, like, because he had to be a second time, that he should be charged for it. But so far, they haven't, like, sent him a bill for being airlifted.
Well, now what he should do is do it a third time.
Yeah, now you got to push it.
This is like the league where the guy was, like, using up all of his free tows to get his car towed home instead of driving home.
Yeah.
Respect.
Great reference.
Also, another one that we talked to quickly, and I was hot on it yesterday. The people of Oconomowoc who had the sandhill crane shot for being a nuisance bird.
Oh yes, I did see this.
There was a sandhill crane in a neighborhood in Oconomowoc that allegedly had broken some windows and then was doing damage to some people's cars. They then called the police. This was after a man who had his truck damaged received a federal permit to hunt the bird. He then called the Oconomowoc police, who then proceeded to then double tap said sandhill crane right in the neighborhood.
Double tap.
Shot it once, went over, made sure the job was done.
Wow.
If you're wondering, sandhill cranes are protected under the Federal Migratory Bird Act or clause or whatever.
So this was not legal.
But some states do allow it because they have higher populations than, say, we would here, because it's a migratory bird. And
so was it legal or not?
It's a legal gray area, but he did have a permit to kill said bird. But
he didn't kill it.
There is nothing, and I think you can try and transfer the past. Like, I have it, therefore this person has it if I give it to him.
Oh, okay.
But it is, if anybody's familiar with Lake Country, Oconomowoc, the surrounding areas, there is nothing more suburbanite than this bird's annoying me, so let's kill it.
Especially sandhill cranes.
Plenty of people would help with it, yes.
Yeah, like, even if it is, like, breaking a few windows, like you said, they're a migratory bird. They find somewhere else. It was probably near, like, a water runoff pond, and it was just chilling out near there. And then, like, they'll move on. They find somewhere else. My sister literally sent me a picture of a sandhill crane in her backyard. It was there for 2 days. It flew off to somewhere else. She lives in Neenah, near a big lake. It's fine.
When you say it was damaging cars, that's with the beak?
Yeah, so sandhill cranes have a tendency to mirrored objects peck at it because they would think it's like a rival because they're territorial.
Oh, wow.
So as you know, a car, you can see your reflection in it.
I do know that, yes.
Yes. That is what tipped it off, and I think it functions similarly with windows. Sometimes they will act more as a mirror based on the way the sun is. So, yeah, it pecks things like that. Now, there's really easy ways to deter them and distract them. That'd be just like putting mirrors somewhere else, and it'll then just go peck a mirror in a corner by itself. But yeah, just shoot the bird. Yes, we moved into your habitat. Yes, we built our subdivision in your habitat.
Josh,
hence destroying your habitat. Yeah.
Joshy sounds like a lawyer today. It's incredible.
Just had some takes.
All right. I'll try to bring it on Monday. Joshy brought it today. No doubts about it. Well done today, Joshy.
You're welcome for my service.
Enjoy your weekend.
I need it.
Instead of recapping your year, we should just recap Josh's.
No, we've already done that. We've already done that multiple times.
Oh, by the way, real quick, another one that you guys get to learn. My bachelor week starts this week. Sarah's gone for her conference. I'm living by myself for a whole week. I don't know how this is going to go. I asked him before the show,
what's for dinner? He said, leftover enchiladas from 2 days ago. I said, all right, we're off and running, baby.
Mussolini's out for dinner today. Saved 2-day-old dinner.
You guys are hopeless.
I'm really worried about the laundry situation. I don't know.
I don't want to hear about this anymore. Thanks to Hunter. Thanks to Will. Thanks to Josh. I'm Alex Strouf. We will talk to you Monday beginning at 12:30. No Hunter on Monday. Will is going to run the show for us. Might be a doozy. Enjoy your weekend. Make decent decisions. We'll talk to you Monday. Peace.